So I'm going to create a relief printing plate, and I have all the materials that I need right in front of me. To start, I need a pencil and a styrofoam plate. Now this is a styrofoam plate that was pre-cut and was made as a traditional art supply for a printing plate. But if you can find any flat styrofoam surface at home, like a washed tray that used to have maybe fresh meat on it from the grocery store, if it came in packaging, you could just cut it to size. And the reason why we use styrofoam is because it makes a permanent indentation when you press down into it, and that's what relief printing is a plate that's been pressed into or popped up so that you can create a print or a copy of the image on the plate. So in first grade, we were making printing plates of architecture, designing ideas for communities or neighborhoods. But really, you could create anything that you want on a printing plate like this. So you take your pencil and you just draw directly on to the printing plate. So if I'm going to use the idea that we're using in first grade, I'm going to create an idea for a neighborhood. So I'm going to use lines and shapes. And we were learning about an artist named Hundertwasser who created really fantastical ideas of architecture and communities and neighborhoods. I use a lot of rectangles. Then I'm going to think about the functional things that you need in order for you to have a community. So like things like windows and doors on buildings, things that you need for architecture to be useful. I'm going to add lots of lines and textures to this. Even maybe some things that don't make very much sense, something that's really creative. All right, looking good. Maybe think about what time of day it might be. All right. So maybe I'll make a roadway, make some lines that look like texture of grass. You close your eyes and you touch the plate. Whatever you can feel that is pressed down, you'll be able to see in your final design. Maybe I'll add some stars in the sky by pressing down with the pencil. Add some texture to my clouds. Okay. Now you're going to need some washable markers. Washable markers can be activated and used as printing ink or paint when you add water to them. So you can't use permanent markers for this. Okay, so I'm going to start coloring my printing plate. I'm going to use Mr. Sketch markers because that's what I have at home, but they're washable just like Crayola markers are. I can even use some Crayola markers. And as I'm coloring this printing plate, you're noticing that the washable ink that's coming from the markers is kind of sitting on the surface of the plate. It's not meant to, it's not a non-porous surface, so it's not going to actually go into the plate. And we were using kind of fantastical colors in our designs when we were making these printing plates at school. Feel free to use whatever colors you'd like to use. Yellow for the moon, some yellow for the clouds. You can overlap colors, so if I want to add some orange to the clouds over top of the yellow, I can. Maybe make an orange building. And I'm just going to fill this whole plate with color. Add some green. Some green on this roof, and this roof, and maybe add some green to the windows and some doors. Add some purple, haven't had any purple yet. Make this building purple. These windows purple. Maybe make some of the grass purple. All right, so now that my plate is all the way colored in, my styrofoam printing plate with washable markers, I'm going to take a piece of white paper, white drawing paper, and I'm going to take a clean sponge. And what I did is I made the sponge wet, but it doesn't have a lot of water in it. So I put it on a plate and I just ran the tap water over top of it, and I squeezed it out. I'm going to make sure I squeeze out any of the extra water before I use it, because if it has too much water on it, it will make your print way too watery, and then you really can't see all your details because it kind of makes it a little bit too blurry. So I'm pressing the damp sponge, it has just a teeny bit of water in it, on my paper. And then I'm going to take the plate and put it face down on the wet paper, the damp paper. And I'm going to hold it down with one hand and I'm going to rub with the other. And then I can check to see if my idea is transferring. It looks like it is. Without having to move it off all the way, I can see if it's working. And then when it looks like it's working all the way, you can pull it all the way off. And now most of the ink has been taken off of the plate and transferred onto your damp paper. So now you have this beautiful print, and you have a beautiful plate that you can make an infinite amount of prints with. You can change the colors and do it again. It really is a fun, easy, clean method to print at home. I hope you enjoyed watching.